I'm starting from day two, and it will be we will try to finish out the day two today. Okay, let's see. Actually, today we don't have Abraham with us. Okay, so what you have to understand first of all, we are always having some weightage as part of each and every module in the which is available as part of AG 900. If you look into this slide now, we having four modules available. The first module was the concepts that was having 15 to 20% weightage, but the second module having the 30 to 35% weightage. The same kind of weightage you will able to observe as part of module 3, which is like a 30 to 35%. The last one again having the which is from 20 to 25%. So what do you mean by weightage? Weightage means your exam question will be available as part of your topics. Okay, means some questions will come from here, some questions will come from here, but that may not come means question may not come entirely from the module 1. Okay, it will come from module wise questions, and how many questions are possible as part of every module, that it comes under the weightage. Okay, in this weightage only we will have the questions available. Okay, got my point? So we having four modules. We successfully completed the first module, and the second module kind of understanding we already got as part of the virtual machine creation. But yeah, I am going to proceed further with the day two. We will try to cover most of the stuff today. Okay, and you will get the more ground reality as part of today's session. Okay, so today I will try to complete out more than 50% for the day two. Okay, that is module 2 for us. So possibly I may expect some answers from you guys. Okay, so be ready. If not able to answer, no worries. I'm going to explain you again and again. But yeah, I think so. We are done with 50% course, so that's why you should be capable enough to answer the questions. Okay. So yeah, this is the 30 to 35% question weightage will be there. Okay, now come to the first thing. So what exactly we are going to look into this? We are going to look into this related to the regions which we have already seen. We just we will revise for one or two times. Nothing regions, availability zone, a resource group, and resource manager. All those stuff we will see in a major way. Okay, let's come to the region. So I already explained you guys what do you understand from regions. So you can understand like we have four different geographical locations. Those are the four different geographical locations. Okay, those are the four different geographical locations. As part of geographical location, major rules are getting changed. For America, major rules is different. For Europe, rules are different. For Asia Pacific, rules are different. And for Middle East and Africa, rules are different. So there are four major geography locations are there. For those major geographical locations, rules are entirely changed. How exactly? What are the rules? Actually, the rules are related to the data residency. If you see, the rules are related to data residency, the compliance. The rules are related to the your set requirement. Okay, what are the geographical locations boundaries, like how exactly you can achieve the resiliency. Resiliency means how immediately you can cover up your data. Okay, how exactly you can get the backup of your data, and how exactly you can get the more strong fault tolerance. Like you already I given you the understanding what do you mean by fault tolerance, how exactly you can achieve the fault tolerance, and what should the rules and regulations should be there. Even if you come to here, if you see, as part of rules and regulation, some of the data centers are being screened by the US government, and additional compliance certification need to be uh, you need to get the certification as part of your regions. So you can understand there are major four geographical location. As part of major four geographical location, we have the regions which you are able to see here. So regions are available as part of your country, maybe available as part of your specific geography location. Okay, or maybe available as part of your small we to say continental kind of stuff as well. So what you need to understand here, those regions are designed with specific rules and regulations which is applicable for that particular country. Like in India, we have some rules and regulations which need to be followed, and those rules and regulations applied at region level, then availability zone level, then availability set level. The major rule kind of stuff will always come at region level only. So yeah, what is the region? We can say it's a geographical area in the planet where your data centers, your networking will be there, and you will try to have very less amount of low latency because they should communicate in a very proper way. In this region only, you will get the option to have more resources to do the work accordingly. Okay, so this thing we have completed earlier also. Anybody having any doubt related to the regions as of now? Anybody would like to ask any question here? Ankit, do you have any doubt here?
No, nothing as
Oh,
this.
oh, fine, fine, fine. Okay, so just yeah, storage types, storage size, all those things will be available as part of region. All the rules are being to be applied, and one of the important question you may have observed as part of the first set. I'm not damn sure actually. I was not continued in between due to network connectivity issue. So you are able to see the US DOD Central or US Government of Virginia or US Government of Iowa. Those are the such kind of governance which are going to help you out to understand how exactly the rule should be applicable physical level or logical level on the regions. Okay, so they are operating, they are doing the screening. Based on that only you have to design your regions. You have to have all the rules and regulation need to be applied over the region. And in case of China government having very strange rules and regulation. That's why Microsoft don't want to deal with them directly, and we have another third party company known as 21 ViaNet, which is going to deal with the China. So also you are going to get three questions. You also got the second question which was related to the Germany. So the Germany having the rule and regulation where Germany people can have, means you can have data center in Germany only and only once you have the business over the Germany. Okay, so all those and regulation will be applied at region level, but whenever the question will be coming as part of your MCQs, the major rules and regulations are applicable at geography level. So you have to always select the answer at geography. I'm going to show you that question as well. Okay, so yeah, how exactly you will understand in a physical way. So we have major geography, then we have regional pairs. As part of regional pairs we may have the regions, and as part of the region we have the data centers. Even if I will tell you in terms of Microsoft how exactly they have designed, like I already told you, like the default domain is nothing but your racks. As part of default domain you have the update domain which is known as the server. So in a single rack you will have 20 servers. Okay, and one combination of racks comes under the data center. That data center is availability set. Okay, and we have the combination of availability set comes under the availability zone. And availability zone and availability set both are very important factor for the high availability that I already explained to you. Even that has been asked as part of question, how exactly you are going to achieve by creating the virtual machine. We have seen how exactly we are conferring the availability set and availability zone. Yeah, but you have to remember whenever you are choosing the availability set due to some restriction, you will get a less costly infrastructure, because the in case of availability set you will have the server in the single data center, but in case of availability zone you will have the servers in a different data center. So availability zone is bit expensive, but due to some infrastructure restrictions we need to go sometimes for availability set. But if you have the option to choose the availability zone, better to go for availability zone instead of availability set. It's a recommendation, one kind of, you can understand. But no, means people don't give too much pressure on this because they know their infrastructure is not that much widely available as of now, so they cannot simply say to you go for availability zone. But availability zone is a bit expensive, you have to understand. And the regional pair kind of stuff is going to be maintained through the Microsoft. Suppose you have the availability set as part of single data center only, you are going to deploy both of the server, then it's their understanding how exactly they are going to maintain the regional pair. If anything goes wrong, how exactly they can deal with the stuff. Like if you see here, I already explained you that West India, the Central India and the South India. So the between West Indian and the Central India, there is a single direction communication. But from South India to the, sorry, from the Central India to the South India, there is bi-directional communication. If anything goes wrong in a West India, the as part of regional pair, it will come to the Central India. If anything goes wrong in the Central India, it will come back to the South India. But Central, if anything goes wrong to the Central India, it cannot go to the West India, but it can go to the South India. So why exactly it is possible in case of if anything goes wrong with the Central India to the South India, because it's a bi-directional. Okay, here something happen, it will go to here. If something happen here, it will go to here. And this can come to here, but this cannot go to there. So such kind of regional pair has been maintained by the Microsoft. Okay, so guys, I think so all those three slides are quite understandable. Here we are able to see as part of fourth slide, like we have 54 regions available and 6 we are planning. So those 6, if you see those planning kind of stuff, you may able to see like this dotted circle. Okay, and those circles blue color, you are able to see those are the availability region. And one more thing you guys have to understand, the regions contain the availability set. Okay, region that is not guaranteed that it will contain the availability zone, but region will always contain the availability set. So wherever you are able to see this only simple blue color dot, it's showing like it's also having the availability set. But wherever you are seeing able to see this blue color circle having the white internal circle, which showing that you have availability set, availability zone, and region as well. So in a very few places only you will able to see the availability zones are available. Why available there? Because it's a very old infrastructure there. There was high demand. That's why all this kind of infrastructure was maintained in the beginning itself. Okay, the same kind of migration or some same kind of planning of the next level regions has been declared by some other cloud providers. Also in the future they will have some data centers in the future as well. Like if you see for the this Oracle also will have the data center over the Hyderabad location. So as of now they don't have, but they are planning to have their data center in Hyderabad. Oracle, in case of Oracle. Okay, yeah, now come to the geographies. I already explained you geography. The major four geographies are there. Inside the geographies, only regions are being applicable. Okay, regional pair. I again explained you what is the regional pair. Regional pair are available within a geography location first of all, and regional pairs having the communication between them. Okay, so if you read here, the each Azure region is paired with another region within a same geography, together making the regional pair. Yeah, so if I'm saying India, so India having three regions, so those three regions are very in within India will have the regional pair, but it may not be 100% assurance. It's a single direction or bi-directional that will be confirmed from the Microsoft only. Okay, Azure serialize the platform updates so that only one region is updated at a time. So like we have three regions as part of India, so all updates are not going to be deployed in a single time in all the regions. No, first of all we will update one region. If everything goes fine and working perfectly, then only we will move forward for the next region. So what exactly things are happening once you are updating the region? You are updating the patches, you are updating the securities, you may upgrading the hardware. So all those kind of upgradation is happening. That's why we are making down that particular region for the upgradation purpose, and whatever the regional pair is there, that will be up and running at the same time. Okay, now come to the third point. Azure region in a pair have the direct connection that brings additional benefit to use them together. So direct connection means I told you one directional or two directional. Okay, if it's bi-directional, it will be one kind of advantage. If any disaster will happen, automatically traffic will be go to the another regional pair which is mapped with the existing region. Okay, the fourth point, each Azure region in a pair is always located together and located greater than 300 miles apart when possible. So they are saying it should be greater than 300, but they are maintaining near to thousands miles also. Miles is 1.5 kilometer. Okay, so they are maintaining more distance. Why exactly this distance is being maintained? There is no use of having the regions in a very near to each other, because disaster is going to be happen. Possibly it is going to impact 500 kilometer of area or 300 kilometer of area. To better we can think to have a region in near to 500 plus kilometer, or maybe near to 1000 plus kilometer kind of stuff. Okay, the example of the regional pair are the West US paired with the East US. Yeah, so you can remember West US is paired with the East US, Southeast Asia paired with the East Asia. So like this kind of stuff is going to be maintained from the Microsoft side. No need to worry while you are configuring the virtual machine. Those are internal things being maintained from the Microsoft side for your high availability purpose. Till now this point of time, anybody having doubt? Everybody having the visibility? Yeah, guys.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, okay. Ankit, fine. Mayank.
Yeah, Lucky.
Oh, okay. I think so. You guys can keep yourself
Uh,
in mute.
no
Once
doubt.
I,
Also,
yeah, yeah. Once I will ask, then you can answer me, huh? And we are recording the session, so we will share the YouTube link with you guys also, so you can look into it again and again. Okay, yeah. So now some basic, I can say the picture should be required to map the stuff in a proper way. So you can understand we have a geography. In the geography, we have the regional pairs. So in a geography, you can have one regional pair, you can have multiple regional pairs, depend on how many regions are available in the existing geography. As part of regional pair, if you see, we have the two regions. One region means this is the one region, Okay, this is the one region and this is the another region. So both regions are being we are established a communication between them. If anything goes wrong, definitely another one is going to help you out. One more thing you guys may have observed or may not observe, let me explain you. As part of availability zone, you can have maximum 3 availability zone. As part of availability set also, you can have maximum 3 availability set. So 3 means you can have maximum replication of 3 servers. Okay, that should be the understanding. We will not have the replication more than 3 in case of availability set or availability zone. Even you guys may get chance to work in another cloud technologies where you may see the Oracle or AWS. There also they are following the same approach. They having maximum copy of three servers in a 3 different data center or maybe in the same data centers. So we have seen the fault domain, update domain kind of stuff. Let me show you one more time here. So you will be able to map, because this is the most controversial topic, and we have discussed a lot. Like, you guys are now very satisfied with my words, what I'm trying to say you right now. Yeah, so this is the advantage of discussing the things again and again, right? Yeah, so let me show you here, portal.azure.com. So it will take 1 minute only, but yeah, it will be one. And another question you guys have seen yesterday, they was asking about the portal. And one more question, like I was asking about the company. So company need to have the valid mail ID to have the account over the Azure. So both questions now you have seen as part of the yesterday practice test papers, and you will also see some questions related to the US government. So if somebody is saying the Azure governance means the government which is available in US. So in US, two kind of government will be applicable in case of Azure: temporary and permanent. So temporary is known as the contractual and permanent is known as the normal government. Okay, so yeah, if I'm going to show you the virtual machine here, virtual machine, and yeah, here add virtual machine. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the numbers, whatever I'm trying to say you, the maximum 3 numbers are possible. That numbers I'm going to show you. Maybe you have not observed in the beginning, but now you will be able to observe. Subscription also, we can have multiple subscription. This resource group name should be the unique one. In yesterday, we have shown you the umbrella. What is the umbrella? First of all, your subscription will be there. Under the subscription, resource group will be there. Under resource group, you will have the resources. What are the resources? Virtual machine is your resource. Okay, and the resource which is available under resource group should not be available under another resource group. Means you can not have the duplicate resource under the different resource group. You should maintain the what to say uniqueness. Okay, there should not be any kind of duplicacy in terms of resource group, in terms of resources. So this is the very simple thing you have to understand. Okay, this is the east us already selected. If you see redundancy, I'm saying availability zone. As part of availability zone, what is the maximum number? 3 maximum number you are able to see. There is no more than 3. So that I would like to explain you. If you are going for the availability zone, the maximum replication of the server is possible, the 3. So it's replication of the application, not the server. Replication of the application which will be deployed in different kind of servers. So it is applicable in case of US only, but once you come to India, you don't have any kind of what to say availability zone. You have only availability set. I'm selecting the availability set. While creating the availability set, if you see properly, as part of availability set, we don't get any kind of what to there's a separate numbering in default numbering, but the maximum numbering is 3. The maximum numbering 3 means your application will be replicate only for maximum 3 times. Okay, so this is, you can understand, the 3 different rack will be there which will have the servers, and each and every server your application will be deployed. So what do you mean by 3 and 5? So I'm saying in rack number 3 the application will be deployed in 5th number server. Okay, so why exactly like this? They're maintaining some permutation combination. So whenever the update will come from Microsoft, your existing application will not be disturbed as part of the replication. Any one of the instance or two of the instance will be up and running. So the update which is coming from the Microsoft, those are known as unplanned update. The update which are coming from your on-site, those comes under the plan updates. So for maintaining the updates from Microsoft or maybe from your side, there should not be any disturbance in the existing infrastructure. That's why we have the concept of update domains. So you can understand, if I having the rack number 3, the server number 5th, it's not like 5 servers, no, some server number 5th, it will be deployed. So I can decide the numbers, and maximum 20 servers you may be able to see it. You can decide from your side, but they are providing some recommendation to better to follow the recommendation. So just I would like to show you the maximum number of 3, which is showing how many replication is possible in case of if you are going for availability set or availability zone. And one more thing, everything is communicating with each and other. Okay, so it's not like that only regional pairs are being communicated with each other. We have the communication between availability zone, we have the communication between availability set, each and everything having the communication. But data center having independent networking, independent internet connectivity, independent power supply. So that you need to understand. So the individual kind of power supply, connectivity, networking kind of things are independent for each and every data center. So those are data center level. So the physical stuff you will be able to see, that is only data center. Okay, I think so I have explained most of the stuff already, but let me read the stuff so you will get the ideology. Availability zone. Availability zone is highly available, offering that the protect your application and data in the data center failures. These are unique physical locations within the Azure regions. Each zone is made up of one or more data center equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking. So see, in case of availability zone, it's saying it is made of multiple physical location. Physical location nothing but the data center, and each and every data center having the independent power, cooling, and networking kind of stuff. Why exactly independent? If anything goes wrong, definitely you should not be in trouble. Okay, and they don't having any high communication between any one data center, don't having the very high and independent dependent communication between another data center. If anything goes wrong, there should not be any kind of latency between both data centers. You have to understand this. The third number point, the physical separation of the availability zone within a region protect applications and data from the data center failure. So yeah, the availability zone, I told you, availability zone, if anything goes wrong, it will help you to save your data from the data center failure. Zone redundant services replicate your application data across the availability zone to protect from the single point of failure. Yeah, so instead of one server will be down and everything goes down, no. So this is one very famous terminology. As of now in the Azure, you may have not listened this too much number of times, like single point of failure, but in case of Oracle, you will heard it in a couple of times, single point of failure. What do you mean by single point of failure? You should not have only single server, you should not have only single data center, you should not have only single availability zone, availability set, or region. Why exactly? If anything goes wrong, definitely you should have some backup. Even you have heard about the load balancer. So we are keeping at least two load balancer available. First load balancer is in active mode, and another load balancer in standby. If anything goes wrong with the existing load balancer, the standby load balancer will become active and it will perform his activities. So yeah, as part of single point of failure, we never promote to have the single kind of replication, single kind of setup. We will always have multiple kind of stuff, even for each and every hardware, hardware or the logical units as well. Okay, now come to the fifth point. Not every region has support for the availability zones. The example of the availability zones are Central US, East US 2, West US 2, West Europe, Central France Central, North Europe, Southeast Asia. Okay, with availability zone, Azure offers industry best 99.99% VM uptime SLA service level agreement. So one of the most important interview question, sorry, not interview question, sorry. Okay, one of the most important question in case of certification, you have to understand in what case you can get the 49. 49 means 99.99%, because you are having the availability zone, which are 3 availability zone. Each and every server is going to be deployed in each and every data center. That's why you have very high chances of the availability and very less chances of the failure. If any one data center will goes down, it will not be problematic. If any other will goes down, it will not be the problematic. So like this, it is not possible at all everything will goes down in a one shot. So one of the most preferable way to go for the high availability is going forward for the availability zone. I already told you guys, and it is providing you the maximum availability, which is known as 99.99%. It is also helping you to achieve the SLA, service level agreement. If you guys have ever worked in support projects, we having the SLA based on the application priority. It's an agreement between the vendor and the customer, or you can say client. Okay, in if anything goes wrong, in how much less amount of time you are going to help us out based on this SLA only. Different kind of teams, suppose if you are going for the old setup, they every team know, every teams means infrastructure team and production support team know what priority is there for this application and when exactly they have to respond, because they also having some other machines, so you can say data center on the high priority. So based on the priority only, they are going to deal with it. So in one separate session, I can talk about SLA. SLA itself is a very good and broad topic. Okay. So availability zones, if you see here, we have fault domain 1, fault domain 2, fault domain 3, and we have the wave server VM, we have the DB server VM, and rack RDS. So see, you can observe here, we have such kind of setup as part of single availability zone. In a single availability zone, you will have three fault domain. As fault of domain, you have the wave server, you may have the DB server, you may have the rack. Actually, those people are not explained you in a proper way how exactly those has been configured. But let me introduce one more thing here. First of all, your traffic or your request will not directly hit to your wave server or application server. First of all, your request will hit to the load balancer, then it will hit to the web server, then it will hit to the application server. This is the very sequential way. At later point of time, your network security groups and other things will going to help you out to protect you from the threat. I think Mayank would like to ask some question. Yeah, Mayank.
Yeah, actually, I am asking
Mm-hmm.
about you are saying that when Azure plan for any
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Update.
yeah update.
Mm-hmm.
So if my server
Mm-hmm.
one server is updating
Mm-hmm.
via the Azure,
Microsoft. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
second one is going down due to
Mm-hmm.
some situation. In that
Mm-hmm.
in that case, what will happen?
See, first of all, this may not be going to be happen. Possibly, maybe there's maybe such kind of situation may create it because you have created a situation, so possibly it may happen. So what is going to be happen? It will check how much SLA, how much, what is the plan you have taken. If we are unable to maintain your the downtime, and we are going to pay you in form of credit in case of your Azure subscription. If
Okay,
anything goes wrong,
so
yeah,
it takes basically based on your SLA, what you
SLA.
have, yeah, what you have taken from the Microsoft Azure, right?
Right, 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 right. So if I'm saying I'm not talking about recovery. I'm not talking about anything. I'm saying everything goes down and you are not able to cover. Like they have said, within 4 hours your application will be up and running. Why they said 4 hours? Because you have selected in such a way you should have very less amount of expenditure. So you may think, Lucky, how exactly you can say my application can be down for 4 hours or 8 hours, or how much data can be lost? So in a long run, once you will be the part of next level modules, you will understand while configuring the virtual machine, while taking the subscription, Microsoft will try to understand how much critical business you are having. Okay, based on the criticality of the business only, he is going to suggest you the subscription, he is going to suggest you the virtual machines, or the plan, service level plan, or we can say the SLA kind of stuff. All those things are going to be suggested. So there are two kind of possibilities are there. One is database loss, another is time based loss. Okay, in case of database loss, they will try to recover in the given point of time. If they are not able to provide, again they are going to create a credit in your Azure subscription. Another time based, suppose you can bear only 8 hours of downtime, but now 11 hours of downtime happens. So the kind of loss is going to be calculated in terms of two things, either in time or another, or either in data. Got my point?
Okay, okay,
Yeah, we are not talking about any how exactly recovery is going to happen. Just we are talking about the entire loss. Okay,
okay.
and how exactly they are going to fulfill us. Anybody having any doubt here? Tania,
No,
Tania, are you?
I don't have. And Lucky, I have covered this, right?
Yeah, yeah, we
covered
have
in one of
covered
the
this. Yeah,
session.
yeah, yeah. But
Hmm?
yeah, we have covered, but actually we have not covered in terms of our basic classes. We have gone through lots of brainstorming actually. Okay, so that's why I just don't wanna
Okay.
just be on the thought. Better to have a more physical document, or we can say the more
Sure.
reasonable stuffs. Okay, so now come to the fault domain. Suppose you have selected two fault domain, and the fault domain is nothing but the rack. I already explained you guys. Fault domain is nothing but the rack. Rack 1 and rack 2 is there, and you have the virtual machine, and you may able to see those things are available. So those things are behaving like availability set. Okay, so it may be the combination of your virtual machines which may be available in different rack, or it may be the combination of four virtual machine which is available in different rack. So you may able to observe from the diagram itself. So now go through the key points, you will understand everything what I am trying to say here. You need to create the virtual machine in the same resource group as a availability set. Yeah, so this we already have understand. Virtual machine should be available inside the resource group only. Okay, you cannot have two different virtual machine in two different resource group. Okay, that is not going to be possible, but still they are talking like this. Okay, that's fine. Only the virtual machine can only be in the one availability set. Yeah, that's fine. Only one virtual machine can only be in the one availability set. One availability set means I'm talking about rack. So you are not going to deploy your both virtual machine in a single rack. No, one virtual machine will be deployed in one rack, another virtual machine will be deployed in another rack. Okay, the virtual machine can be assigned availability set only during the creation of it. Yeah, so you cannot do the changes after the creation. While doing the while configuring the stuff only, you have to do such kind of stuff. Okay, so now everything goes fine. As of now, we have very good understanding of SLA. Mike, you can keep yourself mute. Okay, we are going to have more.
Actually,
Yeah,
actually,
tell me.
Lucky, there is the something wrong in my mic. When I
Okay,
put on,
okay. Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. No problem. No, that's fine. Okay, we can proceed further like this. No worries. Okay, so now come to the SLA. What you guys understand from SLA? Just I would like to give you some visibility here. So for all virtual machine that have two or more instances deployed in the same availability set, Azure guarantees that you have the virtual machine connectivity to at least one instance at least 99.95% at a time. So in case of availability, John, we have seen the high availability was 99.99%, but once it's come to the availability set only, it's become 99.95%. Even earlier was 99.6%. Okay, so you have to understand, whenever you have only one data center and within a data center only your servers are going to be configured, which will be less costly to you, the high availability percentage goes down. Okay, so anybody having any doubt in this sentence? I already explained all those things as part of our previous session also. Okay, and the second point, for any single instance virtual machine using the premium storage for all the disk, Azure guarantees you will have virtual machine connectivity at least for 99.9%. It's not 99.99, it's 99.90. Now the question which is asked by the Mayank, let me give the answer of that. I was saying, suppose one update is going on as part of my Microsoft. Okay, means that particular rack or server is being migrated by the because of Microsoft upgradation is going on, and I have only one rack, or I can say I have only one server which is up and running. In that case also, the maximum availability for that single server also they are saying 99.90%. So you can understand it's very good availability or high percentage for us. Okay, so you can see here the some of the diagrams are available here. If you see, for the single instance, you will have 99.99% with the premium storage only. Okay, nothing is going to be happen with the normal storage. We already have discussed, like you have three kind of storage. We have the standard HSD, we have a standard SSD, and we having the premium SSD. This is also one of the most important question as part of your Azure certification. How many kind of memories are there, and which kind of memory is applicable for the data recovery? So it's only the premium SSD. Okay, so in case of single storage you will have 99.9%, because you guys was not getting how much percentage you should have as part of single instance, as part of double instance, in as part of availability zone, availability set. So now here you will have clear cut visibility. Okay, in case of here it will be like 99.9%. In case of double instance, if you see, uh, sorry, okay, keep it. Okay, um okay, let me make it a little larger. In case of you have the two instances, you can see availability set. So it's saying protecting against the failure within a data center. So within a data center, if two instances are there, in that case it will be 99.95%. Now clear and clear for you, Tanya? Tanya.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you was asking for the percentage, right? For in which situation what should be the percentage. That's why just I'm going through the
Mm-hmm.
this kind of stuff, because definitely they are going to ask you the percentage of the availability, high availability. So this will be the best thing to understand right now, because we was struggling earlier what is availability on availability set, leave about the percentage. But here you can get the understanding. In case of single instance it will be 99.9%. In case of two instance within a availability set, it is 99.95%. If you have the availability zone, okay, so protection from entire data center failure. So means we are going to deploy one server over one data center. In that case the maximum high availability is 99.99%. and the multi-region disaster recovery. So I already told you we have regions in a pair. So we have regions in a pair. So in that case also we are getting, not, it's not about the SLA in case of regional pair, it's about the region will be up and running. Okay, so data redundancy kind of stuff you can understand. So it's a regional protection within a data residency boundaries. Okay, got my point, guys? Okay.
Lucky, here Ibrahim had explained about the fault domain too. I'm
Okay.
just thinking whether we had the video recording or not.
uh,
I wanted to refer again.
Fault domain 2, when exactly he discussed about it?
He discussed when we were doing this. I remember he
At
was
the very beginning,
explaining
2 3.
fault domain as well. Yes,
Yeah, so this is the fault domain
it was
actually.
very nicely explained. I'm just not able to recall.
Yeah, this is the fault domain only. We were discussing about it only. The fault domain is nothing but the racks, and they are going to be configured in such a way. If any update is going to be happen from Microsoft side, now it is going to protect you from your on servers will be up and running actually. So this was the fault domain actually there. Okay, okay, no problem. So once we have Abraham again, we can go for more further. Actually, Abraham basically from the administration activities, and he is more aware about such kind of infrastructure configuration. So he can help you out in a more. I am more towards development. He's most towards administration. Okay, no worries. You will get to
No
know about
problem.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. So yeah, guys, so you can understand here till regional pairs level. Okay, now proceed further. Okay, so now here you can able to see some more diagrams where you will get more visibility. Like you have availability set. As part of availability set only, you have the fault domain. So guys, you was listening only couple of times. Okay, under the availability set only you are coming the fault domain. So yeah, you have the fault domain again under the availability set. Okay, and you can see you have the data centers, and as part of availability zone you can have three maximum availability zone. Okay, and you have the region 1, region 2, region 3, and it comes under the, suppose I'm saying India is there. So as part of India we are having three regions. As part of three regions, all three regions can be behave like availability zone. As part of availability zone we have the data centers, and those data centers are the fault domain, means the racks kind of stuffs are there, and we have the availability set on top of that. Anybody having any doubt here related to this diagram? Anybody would like to ask any question here, or I can proceed further?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
yeah, fine. And
So,
now come to this. Yeah, Ankit.
Lucky, so we can say like under a single geography, we
Uh-huh.
have like multiple regions, and then under
Yeah,
multiple regions, we have like multiple zones, and
right.
multiple zones, we have like again multiple availability set.
Yeah, means it's like starting from the server and it's going till geography location. So like this, everything will be multiple, but the maximum number of three is possible in case of any specific region. Okay, means
Okay.
I'm saying I would like to configure the
So
availability
like
region, that
three
will be
region and three availability zones are maximum number of
yeah,
one.
maximum number of, for as part of your application you can configure. That is the means we just try to avoid the single point of failure
And
kind of concept.
availability set is when you have like one, I mean server in one rack and the other server in another rack. Together
Mm-hmm.
they form availability set, right?
Yeah, in case of availability set means you have the single data center, and within a single data center you have the two racks, and you are going to deploy your first application as part of first rack, and the second means a second server as part of the second rack. You got my point?
Okay.
Yeah, it means actually you have not be the part once we were discussing about all those stuffs in a very vast way actually. So we had a lots of discussion. So the actually the 50% course already completed, but it was not completed from the PPT point of view, and everybody not getting the clear cut idea of what should be the SLA percentage for single instance, for double instance, for availability set, availability on the regional pairs. So just I'm doing one kind of recall for those people. That's why they don't having the doubt session here. Otherwise we had a very huge amount of discussion and we did lots of permutation combination as well. Okay, fine, now proceed further. So yeah guys, as part of this diagram, if you focus on the top, there is a key that is nothing but the subscription kind of stuff. So in top of that you can say this is also come under the management group. How exactly it may come under the management group? Like I'm saying, we have one university which having different kind of departments. So sometimes university would like to have the bill in a one shot, or sometimes university would like to have the bill based on the department. So such kind of configurations are possible based on the we can say subscription. So even as part of management group only, you are going to decide the subscription as well. Yeah, anybody would like to ask anything? Yeah, okay, let me proceed further. Okay, so you if you see, first of all on the top it's a management group, then we have the subscription, we have the resource group, and as part of that we can have the resource. So what can be the resource? Resource can be your database server, resource can be your virtual machine, resource can be your what to say logic app or web app. All those can comes under the resource. All the resource should not be duplicate as part of the couple of resource group. Every resource group should be the unique. Resource group cannot be duplicate. Under resource group, resource should be the unique. Okay, you cannot have the same resource under the different resource group. Okay, and the resource groups are mapped to the subscription. So yeah, you can update your subscription, you can change your subscription, you can move your resource group to the different subscription as well. And the subscription also going to be managed with the help of management group. So those may comes under the different kind of administrative activity kind of access. We also have seen the RBAC kind of stuff, role based access control. So that we are going to discuss as part of our next modules. Okay. Okay, now come to the Azure Resource Manager. So ARM. So again, guys, once you will proceed further as part of your career, now you will get to know there are two kind of configuration. One is ARM based configuration, another is site based configuration. So ARM means Azure Resource Manager kind of configuration. Okay, what exactly things are there? So if you observe here, the management experience, the word is available here, and we have the Azure portal, Azure CLI, and SDK. Then you are able to see such kind of information here, like under the Azure Resource Manager you have the identity, RBAC, policy, indexes, groups, and etc. So what those things are indicating here, those things are indicating here, we have different kind of resources, and those resources need to be maintained with the help of different kind of management tools. Okay, so here we can manage the resource or resource group with the help of some specific policies, or with the help of RBAC, or with the help of your groups. So that things they are trying to talk here. Okay, so you may see we also have discussed about it, like what should be the means, or here if you see the custom locations, like you have the data services. Okay, you can have different kind of database like SQL or PostgreSQL can be there, and Azure Arc Data Agent controllers are there, Kubernetes are there, servers are there. So all those things actually majorly comes under the administration, but as part of your AZ900, just you need to focus about this. Okay, let me draw. Okay, you need to focus about this. Those things we are going to look into the as part of our third module, where we will look into the security, we will look into the RBAC, we will look into the policies, how exactly billing going to be maintained, like we have discussed yesterday related to a tag, how exactly tag is applicable, should be applicable every resource level, that should not be applicable at every resource group level. So such kind of stuff you will also able to see. And the custom locations means as part of the locations they have some specific servers category available, or specific what to say the operating systems available. Those are going to help us out. So it's a more related to your what to say RBC, like ARM based model. As part of ARM based model only those things are being configured. Anybody would like to ask any questions here? Yeah, Mayank?
Yeah,
Or
so Azure Resource Manager also
Mhm.
control or manage compute services.
Yeah, it's a compute services, like you can say it's not specific to the compute services, but it's specific to the who is going to access the compute. Okay, suppose you are the admin, you should have all the access. If somebody is developer, who should have limited access, or somebody is the end user. So we have the resources, but who is the appropriate person, on what level of access he should do, that you can understand such a way. Compute is going to be controlled with the help of resource manager.
Okay, okay. So
Hmm?
basically, the
Mhm.
user who is using compute services,
Mhm.
uh, mm, mm, so these kind of related stuff will
Going
be
to be
handled by going
right.
to be handled by Azure Resource
Resource
Manager, right?
manager. So yeah, inside of resource manager only all those things are available, like identity. We have seen yesterday, like what do you mean by AD identity? So multi-factor kind of authentication we was able to see, right? So independent active directory, we have the terminology active directory also, we have the terminology like active directory identity also, we have the terminology like active directory privileged identity also. So everything having the different meaning, everything having the different intention. We we are going to map each and everything slowly, but as of now you can understand we have this kind of infrastructure where we can control our tools, we can control our applications, we can control our servers and their access. Okay.
Okay.
Any question from you, Tanya?
No.
No. uh, okay, fine. Tanya, I think so today not getting any question. Okay, we have discussed a lot, right?
No, this one we discussed, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Just I need to cover actually. I think so. We are done with the second. What to say? Okay, this is discard. Okay, so I think so. We are done with our second module, and now we can jump into the third module also. Okay. Okay. No, no. We have the components. We will proceed further for the component also. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so let's have the questions here. Let me ask the questions. Yesterday we also have a very good session for having the questions. Okay, deploying an app can be done directly to what level of the physical granularity? Tell me, guys. Physical granularity. You have to capture this word.
Reason,
And
reason,
region? No. How exactly it can be region? Physical granularity.
server rack. Sorry.
Okay. What do you say, Tanya?
No, it is region only. Last time I told at that level, we
Mm-hmm.
corrected.
How exactly it will be region? Can you please
Because
explain?
it is only region which is visible to us as a
Okay.
physical granularity.
Right,
Check the
right,
answer,
right.
Lucky.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
region only. It's region only. Just I'm asking for the justification. If you are saying anything, what is the reason behind it? Yeah. So, Mike, did you understand why exactly it should be the region?
Yeah.
Okay, let me explain here from the explanation itself. If you see here, most of cases we have seen like we have the geography location, then we have the regions, and the things are going to be visible with the help of regions only. Okay, you are not going to directly deal with your data centers or server racks. Okay, if you're having the terminology like availability zone, availability set, that also the part of the region. Okay, so if you read here, the Azure organizes the infrastructure around the region, which include the multiple data center. You can pick the region you want the resource to deployed into. You cannot select the specific data center or the location within a data center, right? So like this, Tanya have explained, we can have only possible in case of region only. Okay, the questions here, to use Azure data center that are made. Okay, sorry. Okay, fine. Okay, so to use the Azure data center that are made available with power, cooling, and networking capabilities independent from other data center in a region, choose a region that support what? Yeah, so
So
after the region, what you can support, you can choose.
availability zones.
Yeah, so availability zone only you can support if you have the option of availability set, but still you have to remember after the region immediately you will get the option of availability zone only. Okay. Now third question, the application availability refer to what? We already have this answer, right? So yeah, tell me the overall time of the system is functional and working. So it's while we was
High availability.
yeah, high availability, right, right. So yeah, all those are the answers, and the justification of the second question you can listen. Like availability zone, the data centers setup has been an isolation boundary from others in the region, okay, with their own power cooling and networking, the zone in a region goes down, then other availability zone in a region continues to work. Okay, now come to here. Okay, this may not be you guys know, but already we conducted the session yesterday, so possibly you may be able to answer. The Azure dashboard is stored as which type of file?
Jason.
Jason.
Tanya?
Yes, I have done. Otherwise, I didn't know. Jason.
Okay, Jason, okay, fine. Azure Advisor provide the advice on which of these topics?
Best
Yeah.
practice in security.
Right. So we already seen ki as part of Azure Advisor, we get all the options related to the high availability, related to the security, related to your rest of the stuffs also, right? So we have seen. Okay. True of us. Azure Cloud Shell is an interactive browser accessible shell for the managing Azure sources. Yes or no?
True.
True.
Yes.
Now I have question from Tanya. Yesterday I explained what do you mean by interactive. Do you understand what do you mean by interactive?
It gives enough help to put the commands, and it is easy to refer, so it helps us.
Okay, you are giving the answer what you have given yesterday. Let's listen again. Actually, interactive means once you will enter the any command, na, you will get some response, and as part of this response, it's asking for another input actually. Okay, it is asking. Suppose I have means you have not worked in a development. That's fine. You have not worked in a like a cloud kind of means a cell kind of stuff. But you just remember once you enter the first command, na, in as part of the second command, possibly it may asking for some input. So whenever it's looking for some input, means it's become interactive to you. Okay. So that is comes under interactive. Even as one of the best thing about interaction is they are going to provide some suggestions. Okay, you should do this or you should do that. Means it may ask you, okay, you would like to go yes or no. So this kind of options you are going to get. That is comes under the suggestion. So in this way, it's become interactive. So once the console is looking for the input, it comes under the interaction. Okay. Okay. So we already have gone through it. Okay. Now Azure architecture components, yeah, here guys, so yeah, this also has been discussed earlier also, like we have seen platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, hybrid clouds, and the security and management. So you are able to see such kind of pictures here. What you need to do, you need to remember what kind of service comes under the what kind of stuff. Like I'm saying virtual machines comes under the computing, okay, or this those are computing resource, but that comes under infrastructure services. I say the containers and the Azure Kubernetes, so those are the part of the infrastructure, those are not the part of the platform. So what happened in case of me, one interview was one question came as part of my examination. It was saying the Babe app and the database. Where is the database? Yeah, so database was SQL database. Those two are belong from the infrastructure as a service. Yes or no? Those two applications.
Database is a platform. Web apps.
It's also a platform. See,
Web
everything is
apps
comes
is
under the
a
platform only, right?
So
All
past
yeah.
service, no?
Pass service, right? So such kind of combination of the things will come. Means one means they was having four options. One option was this, another option was like Babe app and this virtual machine. So it can be the pass. This can be a pass, yes or no?
Yes.
How it can be a pass? Combination of this one and this one. I'm asking. Virtual machine and the Web app. It can yeah, the combination cannot be the pass, right?
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
You are asking about web apps, na?
Right, I'm saying the combination of web app and the virtual machine, that both combination comes under the pass. No. So like this, they are going to give you the confusion. Okay, they are going to ask you some of the application name, and the combination of application names comes under what. So you have to remember those kind of stuff. Even we are going to discuss also, but it's better to have some pre-preparation from your side, so you will not no need to apply more mind to understand that stuff. Okay, so yeah, those Azure containers and the Kubernetes, you can remember the word because Azure having 1000 plus services, and definitely some services are very famous, and they are going to have the answer from the very famous services only. Okay, so like this, the combination of those two comes under the PaaS, or the combination of those two comes under the as the infrastructure as a service. Okay, And one more thing here, guys, if you observe here, we have the four type of storage. What is the four type of storage? Blob is there, queue is there, file is there, and disks are there. Okay, so those store, we should remember what kind of storage we having. Based on the storage also, we have the database servers, like we have the SQL database server, we have the non-SQL database server, which is known as the Postgres. Okay, so like this, based on the blob is unstructured data. Queue means the sequential way, like you are sending one message from one location to another location. File means you are going to store the data in terms of file. Okay, or disk storage means you may have those particular database available as part of your disk. Okay, the networking, you can go for the VPN, virtual connectivity networks. We have the load balancers, domain naming system, express route. Anybody know what is the use of express route?
To connect fast
Dedicated network between
between on-premise and
Azure cloud.
Azure
Yeah.
cloud.
Perfect. Yeah, so those kind of terminologies you guys have to know, because once you know this terminology, based on that only the questions are going to be available as part of your exam. And I already told you, if you will go through those two practice papers, definitely you will be able to understand. Because see, for understanding those two question papers only, 110 questions only, we are discussing this much, because there should not be any kind of bar hurt kind of stuff, and you should not feel like I am forgetting that stuff, right? So that's why we are discussing in that much way. So you will get to know about each and every database based understanding, how exactly the function is going to work out, what is the actual use of function. So can you let me know what is the Azure functions mainly support? Serverless computing. Okay, so serverless computing are majorly supported by the Azure function. That workflow is going to support by what to say, yeah, Tanya, workflow is going to support by what kind of service?
I can't recall. Logic something, right?
Right. Azure Logic app. Yeah. So workflow is going to be controlled with the help of Logic. If like this, you need to remember. Okay, messaging, enterprise messaging service. It's a service bus, right? So those terminologies are there. You will slowly will adapt it and will able to understand it. Okay. So why exactly we are using the Azure functions, Mayank? What is the reason of using the Azure functions?
For serverless computing.
And what is the actual requirement? In what kind of requirement you will go for Azure functions?
Um,
Tanya?
Yes, some seamless integration with third-party software, something like that. You type.
Ankit?
Can you repeat once more, Lucky? I didn't get that.
In what kind of scenario you will go for Azure functions?
okay,
Azure
so
functions.
Yeah. Yeah, Mayank, it's equivalent to the AWS
yeah,
Lambda functions.
yeah. So suppose if we want to create my code using either AWS or Azure, then we will go with AWS, sorry, Lambda function or Azure function, so that my platform and deployment will be taken care by Azure or Azure itself, and rest of the code which will be taken care by developer. Uh, so that's why we use Azure function.
Okay, partially correct. That's fine. Okay, Tanya, what do you say? Mayank is correct in what points? Do you have any idea? We have discussed about it actually, about the Azure functions.
I told you what I know of that
Okay.
if we have to use some third party, then the integration deployment or something which is easy to do through Azure functions.
Okay.
I
So
don't
let
know,
me.
yeah, if it is correct or not. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Let me explain you. Actually, Azure functions, see, you have seen most of services are up and running for 24 by 7. But our requirement is not to run our application for 24 by 7. I'm saying, suppose I have one scheduler which need to be run by EOD every day. Suppose I'm saying the bank is there. In bank, you would like to create the bank account. By till 4 o'clock, every customer is coming for the bank and looking for the bank account. So bank is not going to create the bank account in every hour. They are going to create the bank account in a one batch, in the end of the day, right? That may be 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. They are going to run one batch, and that batch will run maximum for 1 hour or minimum for half an hour. Means it's up to them what kind of. So you can understand the schedulers which are running for certain amount of time, which are not running for 24/7. So you would like to write such kind of function which is going to run for certain amount of time, not for 24/7. Those things comes under the Azure functions, and the answer which is given by the Mayank is also correct. We are not going to focus on the infrastructure, we are not going to focus anything, just we are going to focus to write the code inside the our Azure function, and this code is going to be executed as part of their execution, like for 1 hour or for half an hour. So for that certain amount of time, we are not going to execute for multiple amount of time, means not for 24/7. Another thing is this, yeah, it can be used as a third party also, because it's working as a platform as a service, so you can directly utilize it. No need to have this Azure function as part of your virtual machine also. You can take it independently and you can proceed further for your particular task. Got my point, guys?
Lucky.
Yeah.
Here I want to say something that then in case of AWS,
Okay.
then we will not relate with Lambda function, right?
What?
With Azure function.
Means how exactly it's different between both of them? If I explain you.
Actually, if you are talking about scheduler, then in case of AWS, there is another thing which is CloudWatch, right? So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and which is exactly work like a Azure function.
Okay.
If you want to if you want to go with in a same scenario in which we want some schedule, if we want some operation perform like a scheduler, then we will go with CloudWatch in AWS.
So actually, I'm not saying Azure function is working like a scheduler immediately. Like I'm just saying, like scheduler is running for certain amount of time. I'm just giving that example. I'm not saying it's also going to be execute for that particular means time every day. Every time it's not going to be triggered. Just I'm giving you the example of it. Okay.
Okay,
My
okay.
sense, my sense is only it is going to run only for certain amount of time. It is not going to run for 24/7.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, whatever the code you have written as part of the Azure functions. Okay.
okay.
Do you have any doubt, Tanya?
No, and I thought CloudWatch is the monitoring tool.
CloudWatch is available as part of your AWS actually. That is monitoring means schedulers are also one kind of monitoring. They are just generating some reports. They are providing the reports to us. Okay. So it's
Yeah,
depend on
yeah.
what kind of things has been configured. Okay. You are able to see the key vault also here. What do you understand from key vault? Yesterday we have basic discussion about the key vault.
It is basically to store sec, security security just like a document or other things.
No, it's like you can say here you are going to store your certifications, your credentials. Okay, not exactly document. If even it's a document, so means we have another service which is known as the identity kind of stuff. Okay, you will get to know about it as your identity cloud. So it's a watermark kind of stuff is going to be happen. But in case of keyboard, you can simply say you are going to store the key. The key are maybe your username, password. It's a credential, or maybe it's your certifications. Okay. It can be document but may not be majorly document. Okay. Anything, any question anybody having as part of this diagram, any terminologies if you are not aware about, because we are going to cover that as well, but as of now as part of our second session or second module, just we are talking, just we are discussing about all those resource, all those components are available. Like as part of Azure architecture, we have all those components and we will look into those components step by step. But the major question is coming from this structure. I already shared the picture with you guys, and if you want I will share the picture again with you guys. You have to remember this picture. Based on this picture only, you have to identify this particular service comes under the PaaS or comes under the AS. Okay, and what kind of service having what kind of predefined work that you need to understand. Okay. Okay,
So
now come
Key
here.
Vault is under which service? Sorry, Lucky, can you
It's
go
a
back
secure
to?
security and management actually. Security and management comes
No,
under.
go back to that last
Yeah,
slide. Is it
yeah, yeah.
PaaS only?
No, actually pass it comes under this only. This is related to pass only. Okay. This is related to pass only. Those are related to the
Pass
security.
only.
Yeah, this
The SAS we haven't covered.
no. I'm saying this
Yes.
entire stuff comes under the pass. Keyword does not comes under the AS pass or EAS. It's a one kind of security tools and management stuff. Okay, which
Oh,
is going
okay.
to be provided by the Microsoft. So you should not assume that it comes under the SaaS or PaaS or IaaS. It's a one kind of management tools, or you can say the services which is going to be provided by the Microsoft for your Azure account. Okay.
Lucky, I have a
Mhm.
doubt.
Hmm.
Use Key Vault is basically to secure user credential.
Right, right. It's
Uh,
user credential certifications, like you have seen some SSH means we are hitting the URL, so URL may not be secure, so they are asking you to install some certification for that particular URL. You have taken the subscription, you have taken the license, those kind of things need to be secured from your side, right? You cannot remember each and every time the password, so multiple password you can keep there and you can make them secure, right?
okay,
Even we are
okay.
having the terminologies here for each and everything you can understand here, so that we have prepared from our side how exactly you can have the understanding for those particular things. So let's discuss about the compute. I think so Tanya, you may not means have a thought of like such kind of question may come, the combination kind of stuff,
Which combination?
like the S pass combination or S combination, like virtual machine and web app, or SQL server and web app.
No, I heard you first time saying. So if it is a combination, then which one should we select?
See, if I'm saying it's a, if they are saying what is the past services, then this web app you can say, or the SQL, whatever is returning here. If any question, if any service is coming from here, that comes under the past combination. If any service is coming from here, it's means infrastructure as a service. You are getting my point? Means the SQL
So
server and the web app, both combinations comes under the PaaS as a service. Okay.
correct. But if they say talk about a virtual machine and web apps,
That
will
is
that
not the
be an
combination.
infrastructure?
No, that cannot be any combination. So that
Okay,
is the
that is
wrong.
not, there is no combination there. I mean, you
That
are
is a
putting,
wrong
okay.
wrong option
Ah,
only
okay.
for deviate you. So that they are going to keep such kind of stuff. So that's why I'm letting you know, as part of my certification. While I was attempting, they have kept such kind of confusion stuff. You people don't know what service coming under what kind of platform. Then definitely you will do the mistake. So they will have some wrong combination. They may have some right combination. You have to remember. You have to go for the right combination only. Okay.
And what is it at the right hand side, Lucky? What are
It is the
those?
hybrid cloud related stuff, like how exactly you have on-premises data center and the cloud data center. So how exactly the communication is going to be happen? What means you know the Azure monitor. Azure monitor is working like a health services. If what is going up, what is going down, how exactly if anything goes down, when exactly they are going to send the reports to the users or end users. We will discuss about them. Those are related to the hybrid cloud actually. Hybrid cloud.
Yesterday we read, okay, got you. So
Yeah.
yesterday we spoke about Azure AD Connect Health. So that
Right.
is
Right.
only used in hybrid cloud mode.
Yeah, AD Connect Health comes under the hybrid cloud only. Like this, we have some more services like AD privileged identity we having, right? And we
Right.
having we have AD identity also. So every terminology, the combination of terminologies is different. But yeah, this terminology which is you are able to see under the hybrid cloud is applicable in case of hybrid only. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you may able to see, and even this AD privileged identity management, all those things you will able to see slowly how exactly the combination can work together, how exactly those independent. And whenever I am talking about any service, now you don't think this service is only applicable in case of hybrid. Okay, just you need to think, okay, that can be applicable in your on-premises combination with the public. Most probably we are dealing with the hybrid. That's why they have kept there also. Okay, but that is independent service. So no need to worry, it's a part of what, but as of now you have to worry about, okay, what is the use of this particular service. Okay, we will reveal that as well. Means yesterday you have seen the data lake, what is the use of data lake, and where there are two kind of things. You are able to see the analytics service and you are able to see the data lake storage. So we have seen the AI kind of stuff is also there, ML kind of stuff is also there as part of your Azure services. So those things also you will be able to see in the future. Okay. Yeah, now this is the important portion here, guys. You have to understand those terminologies. Okay, so terminology like the Azure virtual machine. So simple thing, the window or the Linux virtual machine VM hosted in Azure. So it's talking about the compute resources. Okay, just I'm reading it, so you will also cover from your side. The compute services are often one of the primary reason where the companies move to the Azure platform. Azure provides the range of the option for hosting application and services. Here is the some of the example of the compute services in Azure. Yeah. So as of now, you guys was thinking you are getting virtual machine, and virtual machine, but no, that is not only the thing. Okay, virtual machines are also going to be available as part of their services. Okay, so how can you have multiple virtual machine in a one shot? Like we discussed about the 20 Windows and 50 Linux. Okay, like sorry 30 Linux. So the skill set. So you, the second terminology you may be able to see Azure virtual machine skill sets, scaling for the Windows and Linux virtual machine in a Azure. So just what we are trying to do, we are trying to have the same kind of virtual machine, but their operating system will be different in terms of configuration. You know, understand my point? The skill set is majorly coming into the picture while you are configuring a virtual machine for different operating systems, and most probably it is applicable in case of Windows and Linux. Got my point, Mayank or
Yes.
Tanya? Yeah. So whenever see, they are not going to make you more confused. So whenever you will see scaling of the Windows and Linux and with the help of multiple Windows creation, then a scale set is going to help you out. Okay. Now come to the third terminology, Azure Kubernetes.
Sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
Lucky,
yeah.
the scale set we have not read right before
Yeah, you
about
have not.
scale set.
Yeah, yeah, we have not read before. This is yesterday we have discussed, and today we are discussing. It will be the part of our component. As part of the component, we are reading this, and the terminology refers to the having the same kind of virtual machine in different environment, in different operating systems. This is the only use of this terminology actually. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying maybe one or two terminologies we have left out because we was discussing too much over the practical kind of stuff. We was going through the virtual machine creation, so maybe we have lost our basic which is very important as part of AG900 certification. Guys, you need to understand one thing here. See, even we are giving you the training for the AG900, but anyhow anyway you already got the 50% understanding of administration also. Okay, so we are talking in that level, so it's good for you guys only because we are not discussing in a overview, we are discussing in a more depth with you guys. Okay, now proceed further. Azure Kubernetes services. So you guys have heard about the Kubernetes, right? So Kubernetes is the next level of the Docker. Okay, what is the Docker? So you have seen in the olden days, we was having the operating system. On top of operating system, we was installing the virtual machine, this VMware. It's nothing. VMware having the virtual machine, then they having the Tomcat server, all those kind of servers. So what is happening? Like it is consuming lots of resource. Lots of resource means it's consuming lots of RAM. If you would like to have the virtual machine in your system, you should have at least 12 GB of RAM in your system. Then you have the virtualization. As part of virtualization, you are keeping Windows, you are keeping Linux, you are keeping Fedora, Ubuntu, all this operating system you are keeping as part of your virtual machine. So that is too much headache because your resources are not being utilized properly for particular action. Okay, your OS is consuming lots of energy, your RAM is going to be utilized a lot, but not exactly for particular functionality. So the Kubernetes is the next level of the Docker. The Docker is eliminating the option of the operating system. You can directly have the containers and you can deploy your application on top of containers. Okay, and even the Kubernetes is the next level. It is going to maintain some clusters. It is going to be it is working in centralized. So enable the management of the cluster of the virtual machine that runs enable the management of the cluster of VM that runs a centralized containerized services. Okay, so you can understand the Kubernetes like the captain of the ship. Okay, where every person is a common person, but Kubernetes is such kind of person who will control most of his stuff. Okay, so we are going to maintain the clusters also as part of our virtual machines, and it's a containerization kind of service. As of now, you guys can understand. So I would like to ask one question here. Tanya, do you have any idea about the VMwares and having the multiple operating systems and how exactly we need to have heavy RAMs, all those terminologies? You heard about it?
I didn't understand your question. What was that?
Okay, I'm saying, have you ever analyzed the problem with the virtual machine creation, like VMware kind of software. Have you ever heard about those things or used it as part of your system configuration? VMware.
Yeah, VMware I have heard.
Uh-huh.
VMware I have heard. Cluster
As
also I have heard.
Okay, so as part of VMware, we are going to create the virtual machines actually. Okay, those virtual machines are having different operating systems. So what is happening? And on top of operating system, we are having the containers actually. So what is happening? We are going to deploy our application in the containers. So containers are not consuming that much energy, or we can say computing resources, that much your virtual machine is consuming or VMware is consuming. Okay, so that was too much problematic because we should have at least 12 GB of RAM, 8 GB of RAM, then only you can have a virtual machine running or VMware running in your system. So this Kubernetes is eliminating the operating system, the Kubernetes is eliminating your containers also. You can directly have your management of the clusters over the virtual machine with the help of containerization services. So do you understand what do you mean by container? Do you understand?
Not fully. Not
Okay, so
fully.
do you know Tomcat server? You heard about Tomcat?
Heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so Tomcat is a container actually, okay, which is supporting the SQL, which is supporting the servlet and JSPs, right? So yeah, Mayank, you understand, right? What
Yeah,
you
yeah.
mean by containers? Okay, so the Kubernetes is the one of the latest thing, uh, which is available as part of the containerization. Okay, now come to the fourth point, Azure Service Fabric. So distributed system platform runs in a Azure or on premises. So just this is another kind of service, okay, which can be run on the distributed system platform, okay, which can be run on a distributed system, so which can be run over the on premises. Let me give you the ideology. Okay, guys, do you know what do you mean by distributed system? Distributed system, do you guys understand which application works like a distributed application? No.
No.
Okay, Git, you have heard about the Git, right?
Yeah.
So Git having the local repository also, and you are pushing your data over
Distributed, like
this.
they are like systems at like different place. So in order to like
Maven.
minimize the risk.
Maven also having the local repository,
Yeah.
yeah. Maven having the local repository, but in
But
case of
cen-
Distributed repository system.
central repository, Maven.
yeah, Maven repository, the central repository, local repository or system repository. The company repository comes under the remote repository or okay. So Maven is the just build a tool, but in case of your Git, what exactly happening in Git, you are pushing your data to your what to say the local this what to say. I forget that terminology. Uh, okay, you are pushing the data, right? You are pushing the data to your what to say, there are three terminologies are there. So you're once we are doing the push on pop kind of push it there, you have right, pull and push it there. So even we have the commit kind of options there, we have the some options. So you can understand in case of Git, your entire changes are not going to be updated directly to the central repository. That is going to be available as part of your local system, and once it will be have the connectivity, it is going to update there. Okay, distributed kind of stuff. You have the branches there, right? You have different kind of branches, and you are making them locally available by creating the clone of them, right? So what you say, Git having some, I forgot the terminology, key terminology actually. Okay, so the Git is working like a distributed operator. Okay, application. One of the best thing is your mobile applications like Facebook. Facebook is working like a distributed, or WhatsApp is working like a distributed. How exactly? You are having already data as part of your application also. You're having data as part of the servers also. So whatever the application or data you having, that is going to work like authentication stuff. Okay, every time you're not going to log in into the Facebook, your already application is connected, already application having some data. Based on that data only things are going to be happen. Every time your data is not going to be loaded from the WhatsApp servers, already have some data as part of your WhatsApp. So distributed service are like this, it will not be available in a single area, it will be available in the remote area also, it will be available in your local area also. So in this way the speed will be speed will be maintained. On top of that, the application will be more secure, so there will not be the only single point of failure then you will be in a problem. Like you are pushing your data right into the local area. I forgot the word exactly in case of Git, but yeah, if your Git server is down, nothing is going to be problematic. It is going to push for your internal local area, and then staging area. Sorry, staging area. Yeah, now remember staging area, right? You guys are push. Once you are adding the data, it's going to the staging area. Remember? Yeah. So it's a distributed applications. You guys are able to understand my word, what I'm trying to say here, Tanya?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this
So I'm,
Azure Service Fabric should have been on your right hand side of your last slide of hybrid. Is
uh,
it so? Or it
mm,
is all compute?
no, it's a compute only. No, those are the computes only. Those comes under the compute only. What kind of computing resource we are going to get as part of our Azure? Okay, so you may get in terms of virtual machine. You can get in terms of scaling directly for the multiple virtual machine. You can get in terms of containerization. You can get in terms of the distributed systems where the single thing will goes fail, then still your system will be up and running, and once another system will up, you can communicate between them. Okay, Azure Batch. Azure Batch, like you are doing the stuff in a one shot, right? You are trying to continue. Means in case of you, like instead of dealing with each and every person individually, what I'm doing, I'm keeping you guys in a one batch and then trying to do the stuff, right? So what is going to be happen? You guys will have more productivity, more understanding. It will be high performance and low computing power required from my side, right? Azure Batch. You guys understand what do you mean by Azure Batch? Hello.
Yeah, Lucky. Yeah, Lucky. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So now we have the container instances also. Those are the terminologies actually. Those are not going to be used much as part of your AG900, but yeah, in the future we will look into them. Okay, run contained application on the Azure without provisioning the server or the virtual machine. So yeah, we have that available container instances as part of your services in Azure. And Azure functions, you can understand here again the explanation of Azure function clearly available here. Event driven serverless compute service. Okay, so event driven, like some particular event is going to be happen, then only that is going to be executed. So that comes under the event driven kind of stuff. Okay, in case of Azure function. So Mayank, you have to understand Azure function can be event driven or cannot be the event driven. Okay, it's depend on the what kind of code you have written as part of the Azure function. They are going to execute for certain amount of time. They're not going to execute for 24/7. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So here we are able to see the virtual machine. So I have explained you guys here. Okay, this is the diagram. Once we are going for the virtual machine in the very beginning days. Okay, we having the hardware. Okay, we having the hardware. Then we having the on top of hardware, like you have the laptop. On top of that laptop, you have the operating system. On top of operating system, you have the super hypervisor controller. As of now, you are not able to see as part of a laptop, but in case of the servers, you have such kind of stuff. Then you have again one virtual hardware and then guest OS and application. Like these things are going to be happen. Like virtual hardware means virtual VMware. I'm talking about virtual hardware is VMware. So this is too much energy consuming kind of stuff. Okay, it's a too much resource consuming kind of stuff. But once it come to the containerization, if you see, there is no kind of what to say operating system and hypervisor kind of stuff. You can simply go for one operating system. So here you are not able to see any operating system. See, you have only single operating system, but here if you see, you was having the operating system, but here we have eliminated the operating system in case of our containerization. And if you see serverless computing, in case of serverless computing, you will not need to have any engine, you don't need to have any supervisor hypervisor controller. You can simply have the serverless runtimes and you can simply deploy the server. So this is the one of the best approach nowadays and very demanding. You also have seen like Kubernetes kind of stuff and the Docker kind of stuff. Docker is this only. Docker is this only, okay, which is known as containerization, and this may comes under your serverless computing, and this is the traditional way. Anybody having doubt in this diagram as of now?
Yeah. So a few questions. Sorry,
Yeah,
Lucky.
yeah, yeah.
One is this host operating system is what OS are they?
It can be Ubuntu, it can be your Windows. Even in case of servers,
Okay.
it will always be the Linux operating system.
So here, if I see virtual machine 1, it is
Mm-hmm.
basically will have its own OS,
Right,
and
right,
physically also there would be another OS we are
right,
talking about
right. So I'm
before the
saying like
hypervisor.
yeah, right. So if you say looking for the first question, first diagram, which
Left
is
side, yes.
Yeah, which is related to the virtual machine. This was the traditional approach to do the things actually, which was the so much time consuming. I was talking about it, and right now you are able to see as part of your diagram. So that was the problem. Like we was having the virtual hardware, we was having the real hardware, we was having the operating system, which are available as part of your real hardware and which were also available as part of your virtual hardware. And then on top of it, you are deploying your application. So actually, your target is to run your application, but for running your application, you need to do all this setup, which is too much expensive
Right.
approach.
I
Now, to come to the
understood.
second approach,
Lucky,
containers.
Acha.
Yeah.
Okay, go
Lucky,
on.
what is
Hmm.
hypervisor controller? I didn't get it.
Hypervisor controller applicable in case of servers only. Actually, you can understand the real-time servers we having. So they implementing some patching kind of system actually. Okay, it's related to the software only. It's not related to any hardware, but those are the deployed over the servers actually. Okay. So even I am not bit aware, so old legacy kind of stuff, hypervisor controllers actually. Okay, but it was
My understanding is that in the hypervisor, you can configure those above what is written and create the virtual machine and all,
uh, uh,
or control. Hmm.
yeah, hypervisor control, like it's, you can say like yeah, it's a VMware kind of stuff. Okay, it's a VMware kind of person. Yeah, so hypervisor control means actually that I have seen as part of my personal machine, but I'm just talking about the physical hardware, means physical servers which are available as part of data center. But yeah, it's correct. If I'm thinking about my own computer system, then hypervisor control is nothing but your VMware. Got my point, Mike?
Okay, okay. So that means if we configuring VMware or any other tool
Mm-hmm.
for installing any other OS,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
You can
that
ask
is
in Hindi.
that
You can ask in
yeah.
Hindi, no problem. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that comes hypervisor controller, right?
Yeah, that I'm saying VMware can comes under the hypervisor control. Actually, it's they never talking about the direct word or direct software name. They are saying virtualization. The virtualization terminology comes under the hypervisor control. Actually, okay. The virtualization can be achieved through the virtual machine. We have the product of the Oracle. It can be achieved through the VMware, which is the product of VMware itself. Okay. So yeah, you can say virtualization can be possible with the help of hypervisor controller. Okay.
Okay. So hypervisor and the virtualization both are same, na?
Both are same. Yeah, means
Okay.
virtualization are providing you the hypervisor kind of facility. So yeah, both are same. Okay,
Okay.
you have the question, Tanya?
Yeah. So you said the Docker
Mm-hmm.
is using this container service, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the container
The
engine nothing but the
serverless.
Docker.
Hmm.
Yeah, container service nothing
Some
but the Docker.
examples I wanted to know for each one of them.
Yeah. So actually, in this case, you understand everything, right? Here, there is no
Hmm.
doubt. Okay. In this
Hmm.
case, you can understand Docker actually. What is the Docker? Like earlier thing you have seen, you was having the virtual hardware, you was having the OS, and then that application will be there. So if what happening here, we are having the one single physical hardware, we have one single operating system. On top of it, we are directly installing the container, and container independently contain multiple container inside actually. So container containing containers, you understanding, one container, like you have the ship
Hmm.
which having multiple container inside the ship. So that is the picture of Docker actually. So the same thing is happening here. Instead of installing separate Dockers, instead of installing multiple containers, you will have a single container which can have internal multiple containers. So in this way you are avoiding the virtual hardware, you are avoiding the operating system, you are avoiding the multiple containers also. You are just focusing on one container to perform some operation to because here if you see, the end product is you are deploying your application actually. So you are deploying your application only, right? Got my point?
Yeah, so what my question was that what type of application gets installed in the container type and what type is it in serverless?
Means
If I'm
in
asking you
yeah
the
yeah
right
so
question.
right
Hmm.
question only, no problem. So in the case of
Hmm.
containers, you are running the applications which are intended to be run for 24/7 actually. Okay, those may comes under the containerization, and as part of serverless runtime means that can be only for the certain amount of time kind of activities, not for the 24/7. You got my point?
Okay. No, that can be any application which is not run
Right,
24 by
24 hours.
7, is
Right,
that what
right,
you're trying
right,
to say?
right, 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 right. In this way we can understand.
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay.
So,
I was thinking this way, like,
mhm.
I think GitHub is a serverless software,
Git,
right?
GitHub is a serverless software. So, where exactly you have seen it's a serverless software, GitHub?
Uh-huh.
Where exactly you have seen it's a serverless
No,
software,
no,
GitHub?
I think I have seen. I was recently
Okay,
looking
oh,
into it, the
okay,
GitHub or Dockers, I don't recall, or maybe something else, some other DevOps tools.
okay. So,
So,
if we are thinking the GitHub, so GitHub is also not running 24/7. The GitHub is running whenever you are performing some particular action on top of that, right? Then only it's running. It's
right.
not, it's not running all the time. Once you are doing the push operation or once you are doing the pull operation, then for that certain amount of time it is going to run. Okay. So yeah,
Mm.
that can be if it will be do, because I am not damn sure about GitHub as of now as part of the
Oh,
Azure.
okay.
Hmm?
I
Yeah.
was looking
So
for some example which can be put in each one of them. Fine. Okay.
yeah,
Thank
so
you. Yeah.
I already told you Azure function is the example here. Your Docker is the example here, and your the basic traditional VMware is the example here. So it's a Azure function actually. Serverless computing is Azure function actually. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Now here the networking. So we have gone through the computing resources, what kind of terminologies we will able to see as part of computing. Okay. Now we are looking into the networking resources. Okay. What are the networking resources will be available? Okay, what is the networking resources means we are have seen the load balancer, we have seen the VPN. So now we have the single word terminologies. What are the intention of those particular uh, terminologies or services? Okay, so yeah, networking, linking the computer resources and providing the access to application is the key function of the Azure networking. Networking functionality in Azure include a range of the option to connect to the outside world to services and future in the global Microsoft Azure data centers. Yeah, so networking is mainly meant for the connectivity. Okay, even it's between data center to data center, between on-premises to the cloud, it's between availability set, availability zone, or maybe between the your database servers, storage devices, all those kind of stuff. So yeah, just we will go through the terminologies and already we are aware about it most of time. Okay, so first of all, the Azure virtual network. Okay, Azure virtual network is connect virtual machine to incoming virtual private net connection. So yeah, we have seen the VPN kind of stuff with their virtual private network, VPN. So that is going to help you us for the connectivity purpose. Okay, so that is comes under the Azure virtual network. Anybody have pinged anything? um what happened, Ankit?
Nothing, Lucky. I'm just taking screenshots of this so that I can
Okay,
remember, clearly after the session.
okay, okay, fine, fine.
I came to know this Skype feature, so it is good.
Yeah, it's available as part of the Skype. We can take the screenshots. Yeah. So Azure
Lucky,
virtual
you
network.
shared the PPT or not? Sorry.
Uh,
Did you
Actually, as
share
of
the PPT with
no,
us?
no, I have not shared the
Mm-hmm.
PPT with you guys. Actually, what is happening every time I'm asking from Abraham to do the update in the PPT, every time he's coming with new update, I was thought of I will share the updated one, and every time he's doing some changes.
Just share
So
as it is, no? As you get the updated version, we can always see it.
okay, sure, sure. So what I'm going to do,
Mm.
the first two chapter I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, next two chapters, once it will be completed, I will share with you guys.
Yes,
Hmm?
yes,
I
yes,
was planning to have those PPT in form of PDF, so it will be more easily to access instead of going for each and every PPT. You will have a single document. You can scroll and you can go through it actually. Okay. So yeah, you guys having the understanding of Azure Virtual Network, that is nothing but the VPN, virtual private network, with the help
Okay.
of that only. Yeah.
Like it is something off the topic. You said about fork in GitHub. So can you just give me a one-line statement? What do you mean by fork?
You don't know the fork.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So actually, you may heard about the multiple implementation of the Git. Actually, GitHub is the implementation of the Git. Okay.
Yeah,
So
right.
like this, we have the implementation of the Git is Bitbucket. Okay.
Okay.
So as part of Bitbucket, you have the multiple branches. The branches maybe the feature branches, maybe the development branch, maybe the master branch. Once it is your feature branch, as part of feature branch, that feature branch is specific to your Bitbucket. That is not specific to you. So once you would like to have that feature branch specific to you, you are going to make it fork. So now that feature branch also becomes specific to you. So whatever change you are going to do as part of your fork branch now, you are going to merge with your feature branch, and then feature branch can be promoted later point of time as part of your development branch or master branch once everything goes fine and smooth.
Okay,
So
okay.
you got understanding? The fork
Yeah,
branch,
I got it. I got it.
yeah, the fork is nothing but your independent area where you can work with the feature branch. Okay, so everybody will have their own fork branch actually. Okay, even it's a feature branch, you are going to make your feature branch as a fork branch. Okay, so while you will do the forking now, entire thing will be available to you personally, but definitely you should look into the feature only. You should not touch development or anything else.
It is
Yeah.
just like a clone version, na?
Yeah, Miss Clone. Yeah, it's clone personal to you only. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see. Yeah, it's personal to you. You should not touch the actual set of your GitHub or Bitbucket. Okay, you should do the nonsense in your area
Yeah.
only. In your means you can say local area or the port area only. Okay. So guys, Azure Virtual Network, you understand the Azure Virtual Network is nothing but we are talking about the VPN, Virtual Private Network, and they will have the connection, and with the help of that connection only that things are being going to be connected. Okay. Azure Load Balancer. Load Balancer, we already know we have the incoming traffic, we have the outcoming traffic. So application is going to be maintained with the help of Load Balancer. Traffic is going to be distributed. So you can understand this, those are the service endpoint for the applications. Okay. Anybody having doubt for those two particular words as of now?
So
Mayank?
even in microservices, we have this terminology, load balancer and application gateway. So is it the same thing or like different?
Can you please repeat again?
So I'm saying even in microservices, we have
Hmm.
also these terminologies like load balancer and application gateway. So are both the same or is there any difference?
Application gateway. In terms of what?
I'm saying in microservices,
Ha 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 ha.
we have the same terminology, load
Yeah.
balancer and application gateway. So I'm just
Right, right,
asking
right, right,
that's the
right.
same thing, right?
No, actually, you have to understand you have the DevOps also available before the Azure also, right? So yeah, terminologies are same, actions are same, but those are different product from cloud. So I'm saying Azure Load Balancer, it's clearly containing the word Azure. Like load balancer is specific to the Azure. Okay, so load balancer may be available from third parties like Joule API is there. You may heard about, right? Some load balancer is available in terms of microservices. So it may not be the Azure product, but it may be other product which is providing you the same kind of feature of load balancing. You got my
Okay.
point?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why in front of each and every service you are able to see the Azure word. So virtual network was earlier exist in the past. Okay, but how exactly the Azure virtual network means Azure having their own virtualization means Azure having their own connectivity with the help of their private network. That's why we are saying Azure virtual network. So terminologies are same, functionalities are same, but products are different. Okay. Okay, now come to the Azure Application Gateway. So the application gateway, if you have gone through the microservice kind of application, so it's like a one kind of pathway. So you can understand the optimizing the app servers from delivery while increasing the application security. So yeah, gateway are such kind of thing where you can have your securities, you can define your securities, and based on the securities only you can optimize your application servers or base servers. So we will look into those application gateways while we will look into the securities. So in application gateway level you can apply the securities actually. Okay, you having the application server, because you are not directly dealing with the application server. First of all you have the load balancer, then you have the base server, then you have the app server, then you having the application gateway where you are going to increase your application security. Okay, got my point, guys? Tania?
I thought the application server is behind the gateway.
Behind
You
the
have
gate.
the virtual network, you have the
Mhm,
load balancer, you have
mhm,
the gateway, and then comes the app server.
mhm. Application optimize application server
Maybe.
delivery while increasing the application security. See, application gateway, it's like you have the means a combination of those things, right? Web servers, app servers, and such a way. So it's depend in what way they have configured actually. It's also depend means it's going to be changed cloud to cloud as well. Okay. Okay, now come to the VPN gateway. So access the Azure virtual network throughout the high performance VPN gateways. So again, it's a VPN. You can send virtual private networks, and you have the communication between Azure virtual networks. Like you have different kind of sources between the. Uh, okay, one thing I would like to tell you here, what to say, Tanya, the gateways are mainly intended for communicating with the outside world. Actually, most of cases. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
That's why.
the gateway are not meant for the internal purpose. They are made for the outside world. So possibly the gateway maybe, see here we are looking into the terminologies as of now. Mean what is the actual sense of that? But the gateway are mainly meant for the outside world communication. Like I'm saying, the VPN gateway.
Correct.
Yeah. So like this, your on-premises data centers are going to be connected your public data centers, and you have the gateway. With the help of that only the communication is going to be established. So yeah, you can search, understand in such a way. Okay, got my point?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Azure DSN, domain naming system. So yeah, the ultra fast DSN response and ultra fast domain availability. So how it's going to work out? Like we can have multiple virtual machines, and based on the requirement, we can have the DNS for them. Okay. So like content delivery network. Also we have seen like this is one kind of service available from the Azure. So that Netflix, in the Netflix you are able to see the content, lots of content, like so it's due to high bandwidth only customers are able to access the high amount of data or streaming kind of services they are able to have. DDoS means you are going to protect your application from unwanted attack. Like I'm saying, like in a Flipkart you are trying to order one product, but what is happening, you are unable to order, and actual traffic is not there, but due to this DDoS was not configured in a proper way, you are getting not a response, means your request is getting denied, right? You are unable to order this particular product in your cart. So such kind of things, protection need to be done. The protect Azure hosted application from distributed denial of services attacks. You got my point? People that would like to create the traffic in your website. In this way your website will be collapsed. So that kind of security need to be applied. So that's known as the Azure DDoS. Anybody having any concern related to the DDoS? uh, Mayank or Tanya, it's fine, we can proceed further.
No, I don't have. Yeah, thanks. Mm.
Okay. So Azure Traffic Manager, again, it's talking about we having that distribute the traffics and that between different kind of Azure regions, and we know that we have regions which are available worldwide. So Traffic Manager we know. Express route also we know, like it's a very high bandwidth dedicated connection between your what to say on premises to your public cloud. Okay. Express route, it's a very important question, you have to remember the express route. Okay. Yeah, network watch. So watcher is nothing but the health monitoring kind of system. They are going to analyze the issue with the network, and they are going to provide some analytic reports to you. So based on that only you can do the configuration. So whenever you are able to see any kind of terminology related to the monitor, that is nothing but the health system. Okay. So monitor and the diagnosis the network issue while scenario based analysis. Okay. Azure firewall. What do you mean by firewall? Like we know simply in case of Windows, we are able to see the firewall. The same kind of firewall are going to be applicable, which are going to help you out to have the high availability, and they are going to have the unlimited kind of scaling. So all those kind of facility you are going to have. Firewall is going to filter you out, and firewall are going to be maintained with the help of a specific port number. Like if this port number is being configured, so such kind of request should come from such kind of port number only. So such kind of filtration of the port number is possible with the help of firewall only. You will able to see as part of our security module. Azure Firewall. Actually, as part of the second module, na, you will go through lots of terminology, but those are only components. Those are the description of the components only. Those are not really going to be used in a broad way. Those are going to be used as part of your third and fourth module. Okay. Now come to the last one, virtual WAN. So WAN means you are able to see wide area network. Okay, so create a unified wide area network connecting local and remote sites. So those are the terminologies available as part of networking. Yeah, storage, I already told
Lucky,
you. Yeah, tell me.
Lucky, can you please uh, brief about DDoS production? I
Okay,
didn't get it.
protection. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
DDoS. Okay, so this is known as the denial of service. Okay, this is known as the distributed denial of service. What do you mean by this? Some of the persons want to what to say, crash your servers. Okay, would like to show the unwanted traffic, even the real traffic does not exist. Suppose I am saying you would like to order one product over the Flipkart, and Flipkart website may not respond properly once it's having lots of customers who are trying at the same time. Suppose the website capacity is only 1 lakh customer can do the order, but in reality there is no 1 lakh customer, there is only 10,000 customer, but rest of 90,000 customers are being showed due to attack has been done to show you dummy traffic. So that kind of attack is comes under the DDoS kind of stuff, showing the dummy traffic to collapse your servers, to not perform proper respond from your application. Got my
Okay,
point?
so your means when I is it something related to automation or why when we go मतलब जैसे हम किसी
Mm-hmm.
वेबसाइट पे ऑटोमेशन के थ्रू जाते हैं
Mm-hmm.
लाइक सेलेनियम के थ्रू मैंने कोई स्क्रिप्ट चला दिया किसी
Mm-hmm.
भी प्रकार से मैंने कोई एक स्क्रिप्ट रन की और उसके
Mm-hmm.
थ्रू मैं यदि किसी वेबसाइट पे बार बार जा रहा हूँ
Mm-hmm.
तो इज दिस काइंड ऑफ
Okay, मैं समझ गया. Okay, I got it. Actually, you are saying like it's not means just forget about the scenario. Like you are saying like some random clicker is there, right? Who is trying to click couple of times to order the product over the cart, right? Some random clicker is
yeah
available.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
yeah, yeah. So actually, that is not the problem. Actually, you are the real person who are clicking on it right now. You are using your account. Actually, you having the account. You are the user. You are clicking on it with the help of that product. But in the reality, you don't have account. You don't have the request. Nothing is there, but still traffic is going to be created. So that things comes under the denial of service. Okay, that is comes under the one kind of attack which is going to be happen for not utilization of your resources, and it may means crash your website because lots of traffic is going to be visible there. So lots of securities are nowadays being applicable, so that's why such kind of attacks can be avoided, and this is very common in case of clouds. They know such kind of things is possible in case of your what to say cloud computing. I think you got your answer. Yeah.
एक्चुअली जैसे कि हम जीमेल का अकाउंट यदि सेलेनियम के थ्रू बनाते हैं राइट तो उसमें जीमेल में एक लिमिट होती है कि आप 1 मिनट में या 2 मिनट में एक ही यूजर एक आईपी एड्रेस के थ्रू 2 अकाउंट बना सकते हो 3 अकाउंट बना सकते हो लेकिन यदि उस लिमिट को यदि आप क्रॉस कर जाते हो तो जीमेल आपको कहीं ना कहीं रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर देता है कि आप बना नहीं सकते हो तो दैट काइंड ऑफ अटैक्स कम्स अंडर द डीडीओस
नहीं ये सब जितने भी अटैक वॉट एवर द अटैक्स यू आर एबल टू सी दोज आर द ऑटोमेटिक अटैक्स दोज आर नॉट द ह्यूमन based attacks. Actually those are the automatic attacks which is going to achieve with the help of some tools or with the help of some security attack. Okay, those are not specific to the human. Actually you should understand this is not specific to the human, it is specific to the automation, and automation is specific intended for the your website not to be used in proper way, or your website should be collapsed. You got my point? It's an
ओके
automation, it's not a human interactive anyway.
तो
You
तो
Mhm.
so when human attacks basically comes under the DDoS, right?
uh human
When human attacks on any website, that is come under
with the help of
DDoS.
with the help of any tool, not directly, with the help of any tool which is going to provide you some dummy kind of traffic. Yeah, you can understand DDoS is one of the best. Dummy traffic is going to be available as part of your website, that you need to focus. Okay, the dummy traffic may not be done by the human, it can be done through the some tools. You get my point, man?
Okay, okay. So, but my question is that how you will identify that
Yeah, this is a
the
dummy
real.
traffic or this real traffic and dummy traffic. Yeah, that's why we have the security configured there. No? We are going to have the security there, which can easily identify it's a dummy traffic or it's a actual traffic. It is going to validate lots of stuff. That comes under the DUS. We have predefined services available as part of such kind of stuff. You got my point?
Okay, okay.
We no need to worry about it. It's already configured, already securities has been provided. We just need to use them. Nothing more than that. Okay. But you have to understand it's a dummy traffic, it's not the real traffic, and the dummy traffic we would like to protect from our website. Okay. And the dummy traffic is going to be generated through the tools. It is not going to be generated through the humans, because humans have some restrictions, and we are also going to be validated at certain point of time, maybe using the authentication or maybe using your actual data. But yeah, this dummy traffic may not have any kind of what to say, the authentication, and directly they are hitting the servers and they are doing such kind of stuff. Okay, everybody is fine as of now,
Lucky,
guys?
one more thing. If you know, go back to that slide. The traffic manager and the load balancer. How is this different? I was thinking that to
Okay.
be same.
Okay. See, load balancer are applicable in the beginning itself. Like you are able to see that means your request is coming, right? The request is coming and your request is going to be distributed. The traffic manager is meant for the like different kind of worldwide region wise actually. So the traffic manager working on a region wise, but that is working as a, you can say, data center wise. You can understand.
Okay.
See here, if you read this properly, distribute the network traffic across the Azure regions worldwide. Okay, if you see here, this balances the inbound and outbound connection to the application or the service endpoints. So once it is coming inside the particular data center, then it's coming under the load balancer. But if outside of the data center, means it's working as a region level. Okay, so whenever the regional level kind of stuff, that comes under the traffic manager. Okay, one of the best example I can give you, the availability zone. Availability zone, in case of availability zone, you may have multiple replications, right? You have the paired regions also. So in this case, what is going to be happen globally? You would like to maintain your traffic. So globally, traffic is going to be maintained as traffic manager, but the internal data center based traffic is going to be maintained with the help of load balancer.
Okay.
Yeah, are you able